In today's video, I'm going to cover the debt crisis in America, and I'm going to be sharing some real stories of some people that are going to share their experience with massive amounts of debt from credit card and student loans. And we're going to be able to see how they plan to get out of debt. And if you're currently going through an experience like this, I hope that this content lifts you up, encourages you, and gives you a little bit of extra motivation so that you can get to the other side and become debt-free.
My life has officially gotten out of control, so let's talk about it so you feel better about yours. As of this morning, I have $186,056.76 worth of debt. That is almost $200,000 worth of debt. I know. Now that number by itself is just so large and so overwhelming that every time I look at it, I kind of just ignore it and I just move on with my day, and then I swipe my credit card and I buy something else because I don't even know really what to do about it at this point. But I am nothing if not ambitious. And what my ambition is telling me this morning is that we're gonna fix this and we're gonna take care of this one way or another. Of that $186,000 of debt, I have $54,597.36 in credit card debt, just credit card debt. And that's what we're going to tackle first. I am giving myself 52 weeks starting November 1st to pay off all $54,500 worth of credit card debt. So November 1st, 2025 to November 1st or October 31st, 2026, I am going to pay off all let's round it and say all $55,000 worth of credit card debt. Now, is that even possible? I have no idea. That's a lot of money. I don't even know if I'm physically capable of doing that, but I'm going to spend the next year trying. I'm going to try every side hustle under the sun. I am going to throw as much money at it as I can, and I am going to get those credit cards down to zero if it is the last thing I do. My plan is to start on November 1st and to update weekly on how much I've made on side hustles, and then update monthly on where we are with our debt breakdown and paying off our credit cards. So if that sounds like your jam, or you just want to cheer me on from the sidelines, or you just need to feel better about yourself because there's no way you'd ever get in $186,000 worth of debt, give me a follow. We're gonna be on this journey together, and you can watch the highs and the lows, and no matter how good or bad it turns out, I'm gonna post it on the internet.
This woman's story is so relatable. Like, she has an extremely high amount of debt, right? But over $50,000 in credit card debt in just a year. That is quite a challenge. And it's funny because she's like, I don't even know if I can do it. I don't even know if I can physically do it. Well, maybe you should have a plan to actually see what's reasonable to do within a year, because you might just be setting yourself up for failure, and that's not going to help anybody. But I like the ambition, I like the go-getterness, I like the intentionality is incredible. She has a lot of fire and passion. She's sick and tired of being in debt. You can tell she realizes that this is going to literally ruin her life if she doesn't get it taken care of and do it quickly. But to go into an incredibly aggressive debt payoff goal without having any actual numbers to back up what's even possible, I feel like is not smart at all. She's gonna be all after it with side hustles. She makes an extra dollar, she's gonna throw it at her debt. I love that. That's exactly what my wife and I did back when we went through a debt payoff journey. I was working a full-time job. She was a stay-at-home mom. We had young kids at the time, so she couldn't really work much outside the home. But I picked up a night job, and literally it wasn't much. I would probably bring home, with a 6 or 7 hour night shift, I would bring home anywhere from $50 to $80 in cash from tips. But I would literally take every penny of that, and I'd go to the bank. We'd go to the bank 3 or 4 days a week, deposit it, and we'd immediately send it as a debt payment to our credit cards or student loans or our car, whatever we were paying off at the time. And it felt so great because even the smallest chunks, you'd feel like you're making constant progress. And that's the key to winning at a medium to long-term goal like this, is you have to have quick wins. You have to feel the progress that you're actually succeeding via little mini wins. So I highly, highly like this strategy. And I think if If you're in debt and you want to make a debt payoff goal and you want to start that journey, attack it with as much energy as you can muster, and every penny you can scrimp and save, throw it at the debt immediately. Don't wait till you make your normal payment, just throw it. My husband's parents are in their 60s and have refinanced and took out so many credit cards. They almost have $400,000 in debt. We are $29,000 in debt between us, and that's just car loans. I'm glad you caught it and did something now before you end up like them. Wow. That just shows it can always get worse. But yeah, this young woman in the video is $150,000 plus in debt. $50,000 is credit cards, a bunch of student loans. Like, I'm glad she's making a change and gonna tackle it, but I would say it's gotten pretty bad. How much does your household bring in? $55,000 is a huge amount to pay off in a year. I try to negotiate or pay to delete, where they'll lower the interest until you pay it off and then close the card. So it looks like their household brings in close to like 150, a little more than 150,000 a year. So paying just a little north of 50,000 is like a third, before taxes. That's pretty aggressive, but it's definitely doable. We paid off 126,000 of debt in 2 years, so you can do it. I share exactly how on my page. I feel like being ambitious without a plan is how we got here in the first place. Yeah. Maybe a different kind of ambition though, right? Because definitely being without a plan is how she got here, but she probably didn't have a lot of, ambition to make positive change in her life. She was just living, for the next thrill or the next, thing that could, give her a hit of dopamine, but she wasn't being like, how can I clear as much debt as possible? And that's how she went into more debt. Rooting for you. I paid off $90,000 in 22 months. It was hard, it was sacrifice, but on the other side, it's so much freedom. You can do it. What's the other $130,000? I'm guessing student loans, cars, that type of thing. I'm in $35,000 of credit card debt. I get it. We've got this. Wow, there's so much people with high amounts of credit card debt, and that's probably the number one thing that can really, really eat at you, because high amounts of credit card debt, unlike other kinds of debt, are going to carry very high interest rates. And even though the monthly payments might not be very high in relationship to the amount of debt you have, you actually are going into more and more debt every month just by making your minimum payments. That's how credit cards work. You're going to get, a very low minimum payment where your payoff plan might be like 25 years to pay off. And that's if you make no other purchases on the card. And we know that that's not very likely for most of these people. So in actuality, most people are really just digging deeper and deeper and deeper into credit card debt every month, even not making very many purchases or thinking they're not making many purchases, because the interest is so high that minimum payments aren't even covering interest plus. People who don't have credit card debt in this economy, consider yourself lucky. Yeah, or just wise. Girl, no way. File for bankruptcy and consolidate the loans. Don't waste your hard-earned money. The billionaires write off their stuff, so can you. It's your constitutional right. Any money you earn should go into retirement. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that sentiment at all. Bankruptcy is a right of, Americans, Americans who have the right to file bankruptcy, but you also have an obligation to cover the debts that you agreed to borrow. So what does it say about you if your automatic instinct is to rack up a bunch of debt and then just be like, oh, I'll file for bankruptcy and I don't want to pay that back? Doesn't really say a lot about your character, in my opinion. Came here to say I was about $25,000 in credit card debt, filed for bankruptcy. It's all been discharged. My credit score is 750. If I were a lender, I would not want to give you any money, would not want to lend you any money, because you clearly have not proven that you can borrow responsibly, right? Being proud to have former credit card debt that you got written off through bankruptcy and then bragging about your credit score being high again just means that you've borrowed more money, but maybe you probably haven't paid that back yet.
5 years old and in $169,292.74 of debt, and I still live at home with my parents. And you might as well bump that up to $266,722.97 in debt if you add in how much I will pay in interest. I started aggressively looking at my debt in January and truly didn't know the full financial picture until I got it all down on paper. Debts include 2 private student loans, 10 federal student loans, 1 auto loan, 1 private loan, and 13 credit cards. I've already taken some drastic measures to reduce spending and start side hustling. I started posting my debt payoff journey here on TikTok in hopes of growing and getting into the creator fund. So if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching and following. I'm selling my debt tracking template, I'm door dashing, donating plasma, selling items around the house, and doing TikTok shop to try and make a dent. Made some really good progress so far thanks to an annual bonus I got from my 9-to-5 job, but I've got a long way to go. I've been able to negotiate most of my interest rates on my credit cards down with the help of a debt management plan, but the interest on my student loans is wild. My 2 private student loans have interest rates of 12.75% and 8.9%, while my federal loans range from 5.8 to 6.6%. The private student loans are from my undergraduate degree, which I earned over 15 years ago. I would probably puke if I knew how much I had already paid. And to this day, I think about all the frivolous things I bought and did when I was in my teens and 20s with this money, and wow, if I would have known I would be paying for tank tops and fun nights out at bars 1,000 times over the next 15 years, I might have made some different choices. Even though I've already paid off about $31,000 of debt so far this year, I'm still not looking at being debt-free until 2040. I honestly cannot imagine another 15 years of paying on this debt, especially with so many other life milestones I want to achieve, like buying a house and having kids. I also just got engaged, and it truly makes me sick thinking about how I am bringing more than $150,000 of debt into our marriage starting out. This is not a video to complain by any means, because these were my own choices and I'm working to pay back what I owe, but I hope sharing this can resonate with others, and if you want to follow along on the journey and like and follow and share and all that fun stuff, that would be great.
It is really amazing that she's been able to pay off over $30,000 in debt in the last year, but she clearly is feeling a lot of emotional distress right now because she's newly engaged, and she's realizing that she's bringing in to the marriage a lot of baggage that's not fair to her partner, baggage that's just not something she wants to bring into a new marriage and have it start off that way. You know, it's like, hey, honey, like, hope you enjoy having massive amounts of debt and, you know, payments from debt I took out 15 years ago. It's also like so many young people when they're going to school don't realize that the choices that they are about to make are going to stick with them for the coming decades. Financial institutions are willing to lend you money for college and living expenses. And I was one of those young students who had to take out student loans just to cover my rent, some of my living expenses, like buying groceries at the store and even like a car payment. And yeah, I mean, I went out to eat and did fun things when I was in college, and I wasn't making enough money from my jobs to pay for all my bills plus my tuition. So in reality, I was borrowing student loans to go eat out at a restaurant. I hope that meal was worth the compounding interest of the next 20 years. It's ridiculous to think back to those decisions that we make as young people and how uneducated we are about how these decisions in the moment will affect our lives. And like, it's 2025 and she still has $150,000 plus in debt, and her current debt payoff plan is still 15 years away. She's not going to be debt free until 2040. Can you believe 2040? Like, she's about to get married, and if she has kids, you know, pretty soon after she gets married, you know, she could literally have teenagers and still be paying off debt from 40 years ago. Can you see how ridiculous that really sounds? Let's see what some of the comments say. You need to consolidate your debt with smaller interest loans. Yeah, it sounds like she's already doing that with credit cards, but she should definitely do that with her student loans. To have like non-government student loans, so like private loans in excess of 10%, you should definitely refinance them consolidate them, you'll likely save a lot in interest. As a European, I can't wrap my head around this. Welcome to America. It's wild. Don't stress, America is in debt too. What is wrong with America? Student loans are a scam. Don't do it, like, ever. I mean, a lot of people really have to take out student loans for school, but it's important to realize, like, to set boundaries around what is okay to borrow for your student loans. Like, borrow for your tuition, borrow for your books, but be reasonable about how much you're going to borrow. Like, do you have a realistic way to pay this back after you graduate? Like, look at your future earning potential. You should not be borrowing student loans in excess of like 1 times, maybe 1.5 times, the very most, your annual salary your first year after graduation. So if you're gonna graduate and be able to make $60,000 a year your first year, you should not borrow any more than $60,000. I take back the 1.5 times because that seems even way too high. I would stick to 1 times your first year salary as a borrowing limit. You can do it. I had $75,000 in debt at 21. Now I have $3,000 left after 10 years. It was a hard slog, but you'll get there. Yeah, time and consistency, right? Like, if you're consistent over a long period of time with just about anything, you will see massive amounts of progress. And it really doesn't matter how much your progress is over the short term. It's about the compounding effect of progress over the long time. So like 75,000 to 3,000 in 10 years is not that much. But if you look at that also, like, you know, if you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to save for retirement, well, if you save, you know, 100 or 200 bucks a month over 50 years, that's going to be a quite a lot of money in your retirement. It should be enough to retire if you start early enough, due to the compounding effects of growth over a long enough period of time. Also, you know, if you want to talk about health or fitness, like, you don't have to lose weight all in a day or all in a week or all in a month. Sometimes it's the smallest changes you can make that compound over a long enough period of time. Like, you know, half a pound a week, a pound a week, over a year is a significant amount of weight loss. So that's really the secret to longer term success is consistency. Why did they allow you to have 13 credit cards? Yeah, geez, I don't know. File bankruptcy, loans are a scam, insurance is a scam, credit is a scam. If you don't actually have a way to pay for something in general, just don't get it. Debt is a trap. Debt is a potential scam. It definitely hurts a lot of people. I wouldn't say credit is a scam. I wouldn't say loans are a scam. I wouldn't definitely not say insurance is a scam. I would say, like so many things, you have to go into these areas being educated. You have to really be a smart consumer, and you have to know what it is that you need, what it is that you want, what it is that you can use to your advantage. So like credit, you can use to your advantage. Debt, you can use to your advantage. You know, taking debt out on assets is a fine thing to do. It's a good thing to do. On homes, on investment properties, even on other financial assets, derivatives, stocks. Like, as an educated investor, I can borrow against my financial assets and buy more assets. 13 credit cards. Let's start there. Yeah, I think you went a little crazy with the quantity there. What the heck were you thinking? I wouldn't be able to breathe. Yeah, I think that's kind of why she's where she is now, is that she realized that she doesn't have any room left, so she's desperate.
I am 28 years old and I am in $40,722 in debt, and I want to talk about it. And before I break down my debt, I just want to say, you know, growing up, my family, we didn't have those money conversations. I didn't have anyone in my life that could teach me, you know, about all these financial things that I'm starting to learn now. But like when I was young and I started getting credit cards, like I didn't know any better. I was so naive. Why did 21-year-old me feel the need to have 7 credit cards? I don't know, but it happened, and now I'm here because of it. And here's the breakdown on my debt and things. So all of my debt is loans, student loans, and credit card debt. To start with my loans, I have an Upstart loan, which is $11,891. and I have a SoFi loan, which is $18,630, and then I have my student loans, which is $8,370. And then for my credit cards, I have a Best Buy credit card that has $1,685 on it, my Chase credit card, which has $145 on it, and then my Apple credit card, which I regret ever getting this card, but I have $4,205 on it. All right, so how did we get here? How did I let this happen? I honestly, starting young with all the credit cards that I had, I just fell into the, I guess, rat race, and going to stores, it was always, you know, if I saw something I wanted, I just got it, and I was like, I'll just put out my credit card and I'll figure it out later, or I'll pay it off, like whatever it was. And then sometimes I would pay it off, sometimes I ended up spending too much that I couldn't pay it off, so then it would leave me with a balance, and then I would keep doing that and doing that. And then before I knew it, I had such a high balance on my credit card, that on multiple credit cards, that I then had to take out a loan to pay off those credit cards to consolidate that debt, because it was just too overwhelming for me, and I did it all over again. For me, the little purchases here and there, 50 bucks here, 50 bucks there, 100 bucks there, like it adds up. And if you're not tracking, and if you're not truly understanding what's coming in and what's going out, you kind of just get lost and you don't even realize, and before you know it, you're in a situation where you don't even understand how you got there, but you know how you got there. And it's not what I just want to say, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So if this can, I don't know, get in front of the young adult crew that is starting to manage their finances on their own, or someone in the same boat as me, like, you're not alone. And I want to talk about it because I want.
Yeah, you know, this young woman really sounds like she has a lot of desire to share her experience with being in debt and her stories around how she got there. And it really doesn't sound that indifferent from most young people. I would say the debt usually doesn't start huge. It starts small, and then it kind of like, you know, avalanches into a bigger and bigger pile to where it then becomes unsustainable. You finally hit a breaking point when you're like, I can't even afford the minimums in my life. Notwithstanding, I could never afford to pay off all the debt, right? It's like, I can't even afford the minimum payments. How am I ever going to pay this off? So it sounds like she's getting to that point where she's like, it's just all the payments are too much, and she has no real way to get out of it. It all kind of goes back to what she said early on, is education. Like, you have to be a smart consumer. You have to kind of know some basics of personal finance, like what is a credit card, how to use it, how to spend appropriately, like pay it off every month. Don't carry a balance. Don't take out store credit cards for places that you don't need to. Like, why did you get an Apple credit card? Why did you know, she didn't say it, but like, you can basically get a credit card at every department store. You can get a credit card at every retail store you go into. That is a credit card trap. Do not fall for the credit card trap. You just need some primary credit cards that give you good rewards. You know, use them how you would normally spend your money anyway, and then pay them off just like cash. You can pay it off weekly, you can pay it off monthly. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but don't carry a balance. Don't treat it like it's free money. Don't treat it like it's endless money. You have to pay these things off like cash. That's the only way to be responsible using credit cards. And then if you can actually do that, you can be a credit card person. You don't have to be one of those people that is afraid to use credit cards. You don't have to be scared to get trapped in credit card debt. You don't have to be afraid, but you have to prove that you can use them appropriately and wisely. Hope you guys enjoyed these debt payoff journeys. I hope they've inspired you. I know that they're inspiring to me as someone that's previously gone through a massive multi-year journey with paying off debt. I've always found it very interesting and in some ways entertaining, but also just motivating to hear other people's journeys around debt payoff. If you've enjoyed the content, please go ahead and hit subscribe, hit like, leave a comment below. It really helps the channel grow. And thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.